probably over half of our customers prefer us to text them. And in some cases, we're negotiating large contracts, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 projects for their home, and they want to communicate through text rather than a phone call. Just think about how often most of us are texting these days versus actually getting on the phone and talking to our family and friends and people that are in our contact list. And our customers feel the same way when it comes to doing business.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Build to Win podcast. I'm your co-host, Jonathan Weinberg. I'm here, as always, with my other co-host, John Kolbaska, and we are going to take a little bit of a different approach today to what we normally do. We're going to focus on some pretty specific tactical things within the business, specifically templates, text message templates, email templates, sequences, things that you can use and take and adopt today in your business to get better results from your leads and from your customers. So we're not talking just about the lead funnel. We're talking about all the way through pre-production, production, post-production as well. So excited to jump in here and review these templates with you. And hopefully this is helpful for everybody. All right. You ready to go, John?
I'm ready. Yes. So listen, the viewers and listeners, for the people that can see, they see I'm in my truck. I'm on the road today, and that's, we're shows how dedicated we are to doing this thing, right? Even when I'm on the road and I'm busy, I'm jumping in and doing a podcast. So we want to also bring up the fact that these messages and templates, these are automated messages that you can build into your CRM, correct? Like these are things that you have set up for me, for my business through Build a Prime, right? But
right, yeah.
But they can use this in any CRM, right? Or any text messaging platform.
Yeah, these are the default, like some of the defaults that we have set up in, like when you set up a new account in Builder Prime. You know, these are some of the default templates that are in there, but you can use it with any CRM, with any text messaging program. You can do it manually, right? I mean, just you can send a manual text message. These are just templates that you can use. Of course, having some sort of system that can automate and kind of build these sequences for you is going to make it that much more effective. Particularly when we talk about the initial speed to lead templates. We've done a whole episode on speed to lead and automation. So just go back a few episodes and everybody can listen to that. So we don't need to rehash. We'll talk about rehash, but we don't need to rehash all of that right this time. But yeah, obviously a system is going to make it much easier to be able to do this well and do it consistently. All right, so yeah, let's jump in. I'm gonna share my screen here for anybody that is looking on YouTube or on video, but we're gonna read everything here, so no biggie
for our Spotify and Apple listeners, right?
Yes. Yeah. And anywhere you get your podcasts, I think we're on a lot of different platforms. All right. Let's talk about the first thing we've got up here, speed to lead, right? So, and John, I think you talked about this a little bit differently when we were chatting the other day. I call it speed to lead templates, but I think you just call it appointment setting templates or something like that, right?
Yes. Yep. So you get an inquiry. These are typically inquiries that come in through like your website or some form of a form, but they hit your database. In this case, Build a Prime, correct?
Correct.
This is how to communicate with them. Obviously, if someone's inbound calling you, and in this instance here, speed to lead, you've got them on the phone, you're going to set the appointment, correct? But this is getting those people that have submitted a form or a document or whatever, hit your CRM. You haven't spoken to them yet. This is a way to get in touch with them faster, correct?
Exactly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And a couple of things before we jump into some of the specific message templates here. The idea is we want to keep the messages as brief as possible. In some cases, maybe some of these are even a little too long, right? But we want to keep the messages as brief as possible, and we always want to
especially when it's a text message.
Yes, especially when it's a text message. We'll talk about the email interspersed in all of this as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, especially for a text message. And we're really trying to.
These are the ones that we're showing on the screen. These are text message templates that are built into Builder Prime.
Yes, I mean you can in Builder Prime and really any tool, you can always you'll be able to customize the messages any way that you want. Right. So these are just some samples, but yes.
And we're going to provide this document to our listeners and our viewers. It'll be linked right along with the show notes, so they'll be able to take this document, download it, and implement it into their business.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about it.
All right. So the other thing that I wanted to mention, in terms of, the general approach here, other than, trying to keep things pretty brief in a text message, the idea is we want to solicit or encourage a reply as much as possible. Make it as easy as possible for that, prospect or customer to reply back, right? So one of the things that you'll notice a lot is we're always asking a question, and we're trying to end with a question. And sometimes it's as simple as just reply yes, reply something super simple, just to get the conversation going and encourage those responses. And text messaging is, just a really powerful way of communicating with customers, based on different, industry reports that I've seen. This is the preferred method of communication, today in 2025, for what customers want when communicating with their contractors. So
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, probably over half of our customers prefer us to text them, right? And in some cases we're negotiating large contracts, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 projects for their home, and they want to communicate through text rather than a phone call. I mean, just think about, listeners, just think about how often most of us are texting these days versus actually getting on the phone and talking to our family and friends, the people that are in our contact list. Chances are you're probably texting more than you are talking, correct?
Yeah.
And our customers feel the same way when it comes to doing business, right? With companies. They
right.
want that same form of contact. That's just the way we are today in 2025.
And you got to meet them where
that's the way it is today.
Meet them where they are. And and John, like your customers aren't necessarily the youngest either, right? I mean, it's like it's all age ranges that are texting at this point.
Our demographic, our ideal client, right? And it's probably the same for most of our listeners, right? They're pretty affluent. They're, typically 45 and older, right? So we're dealing with a lot of Gen Xers and even baby boomers, right? And they're texting. It's just incredible. I mean, I know people like, they talk about dealing with, these millennials and stuff like that, but most of our customers are Gen Xers and boomers, and they're all texting. It's incredible.
Okay, boomer, let's get into it.
I'm an Xer, buddy. Come on.
I know. And I think depending on where the cutoff is, I'm just barely in the millennial. So I'm not even I'm right on the cusp. But anyway,
it's pretty cool because, our age group, that late Gen Xer and that early millennial, we've seen the changeover, right, in technology. So, many of the owners are probably around our age, John, like in their mid 40s, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen the changeover, right, from the old analog systems, right, paper filing, phone calls, to this new digital age, right? So we are, for us, we lived in both ages, right? So we've been able to adapt to the new technologies much easier than even, older customers, those boomers. But like I said, boomers are even texting too. It's just incredible. So
yeah. So all right, cool. Let's get into the templates. Actually, I want to make this
can't believe I said boomer on this podcast.
All right, so let's talk about our speed to lead templates or our appointment templates. We've got a few different options here for you. And this is generally meant to be in a sequence. Not all of these are necessarily meant to be one big sequence, but you can kind of interchange some of these, depending on how you prefer to communicate. But let's take a look at the first one. It's just kind of an intro speed to lead template or appointment setting template. And it says, hey, client name, so whatever the client submitted their name as, and salesperson name here from the Men with Tools. So glad you reached out. What's the dream project you're cooking up? Let's chat. Quick text or call. So we're inviting them to either continue with text, or would you prefer a phone call? We can give them a call. Try to be a little bit creative, a little playful with some of the language. I think that is helpful, so it doesn't feel like you're talking to a robot, right? Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, John? What do you think of this one?
It's short, sweet, and simple, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then let's say, we have a few different touches here. We've got a second touch, a third touch, and maybe a final one.
Because not everybody responds on the first contact,
That's
and
right.
you'll find that's often. Sometimes it
And,
takes 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 attempts.
yeah. Yeah. And for, this type of a sequence, everybody's going to have a little bit of a different approach to it. And it's going to be, based on preference and things like that. You might send the second one out 5 minutes later, or you might wait an hour. You might wait 24 hours. So it all kind of depends. But here we have a second one here. The second touch, still thinking about your awesome project, John? I've got some ideas simmering on how the Men with Tools can make it happen. What's the best time for a super quick chat today? It's a little
perfect.
cheesy.
Yeah.
It's a little cheesy.
Hey, it worked, but these are the templates that we're using in my business, right? And these, we've been using these for a couple of years now with Builder Prime, and the our appointment set rate is on regular leads, not including the lead aggregators. We're over 80%, right? And most of it's done through text. So these templates, they work.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, and then let's go to the next one. So the third touch, right? So again, you're setting a sequence. If they haven't responded, if they've responded, you're like, as soon as they respond, you're quitting the rest of these messages that might be queued up to go out, right? But if they haven't responded, we're going to keep going. And the third one here is like, for example, hey John, just a friendly nudge from the Men with Tools. No pressure, but if you're serious about transforming your home, our consultants are booking up. When's a good time for a no obligation chat? Right. So, we're trying to restart, like they haven't responded yet. I like to try to get a little bit of like that FOMO, in there. So we're talking about picking up.
Yep. So it's important that, our listeners and our viewers know that this is just a text messaging side of the the marketing automations, the messages that are going out, and we will touch upon it. But there are, like, in a sequence, like we call it a sequence, and how we attempt to contact them with certain rules, times, days, whatever it may be. There's also email templates going out too, because although most people prefer to text, especially when they're at work during the day, this is always super successful. Some people, they'll be at work. They don't want the boss to see them picking up the phone and texting. They'll respond to an email, right? And then some people are home. They'd rather respond to a call. So there's other things going on in the background. So they're just looking at this one side, right?
Right. Yeah, and throughout this whole process, we're sending emails too, right? So we send nice HTML formatted emails. Sometimes the plain text messages for an email actually works a lot better if it's just a kind of, again, you still want to be brief, right? You want to be brief. You don't want to look like it's necessarily a canned message, that they're receiving. So same thing, very similar. You can take a very similar approach with the email as far as how you are sending those, but maybe just not as frequently, right? Because people aren't looking at their email quite as frequently as they're looking at their text messages. So you probably want to limit, how many different emails or the frequency you're sending those, because
that's certainly true. Like with email, most people have their email on their phones. I probably only look at my email about 3 times a day. When I wake up in the morning, probably around lunchtime, and then when I get home from work. Right. So I'm checking email maybe 3 times a day, where if you send me a text, I see it. Right. I see it, and I might not read it, but I can see the brief message that pops up on the home screen. So I'm like I said, I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing it live when it happens in real time. So,
John, do you have an idea in your business, how frequently customers are responding to text versus email?
Well, I know that like 80% of all of our appointments set, right, that we set through these raw lead sources that are just where people are not calling in, right? So all of these inquiries, 80% of them are responding to set appointments through text messaging.
Yeah. But it's not like you wouldn't suggest that, abandoning email, right? It's easy to send an email anyway, so it's probably, you might as well, but
if 80% are respond, well, again, so, we're not, like the inbound call is an inbound call, right?
Sure.
There are people that are just jumping on, like if we text few people will call and we'll reach them. But like I said, I don't know the exact numbers. I only pay attention to text because I know that's what the prime, the majority of our contacts are through. I know that it's 80% this year, and that's up from like 65% last year. And it continues to grow every single year.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why we're focusing on the text templates here. So, all right, awesome. Let's keep going. We got another one here. Let's say this could be just the next one in the sequence, or again, you can kind of play.
This is a fourth touch. This is your fourth touch here. The available times. This is another attempt to get them on the schedule for an. Yep.
It's just a different approach, right? It's like, all right, John, let's get you that free estimate from the Men with Tools. Our in-home consultations are super helpful for really seeing your vision. What day this week looks good to lock in a time? Right. So it's just we're posing it in a few different ways. We're trying to get responses in a few different ways. So yeah, it's just another approach. We're saying something a little bit different, but still obviously trying to get them to respond and book that appointment with us.
So these text messages in my company, that when we receive the raw lead, the inbound lead from the customer, and it's in Builder Prime, these are set up to go out daily, right? On these text messages. Now, if they don't respond to text, we still are calling and emailing in the background, but I've set these up to be 24 hours. So if I receive the lead at 9:00 in the morning, the first touch, right? The introduction goes out immediately. The second touch will go out 24 hours later. Well, approximately 24 hours later. Like I have next day at 9 a.m. on the second touch. Third day will be the following day at 12 p.m. So I'm trying different times, right? Yeah. I'm not just sending it out exactly 24 hours later, because you never know when people are available. The third touch, the 24 hours after the second touch at 3 p.m., right? The fourth touch, 24 hours after the third touch. And I might I think we send that out at like 7 p.m. Right. So I'm trying all these different times, and as far as in the sequence in which we're texting customers. Right. And then the fifth touch here, the final touch is, and we only have 5 touches, but so that's 5 days of text messaging customers. Right. But again, we're going out 24 hours later, trying different times.
Yeah. And that's actually a really good tip, right? I mean, try different times. Don't just try the same time every single day.
Don't just set it for like 24 hours from when they sent the inquiry, right? Because once the sequence starts, you can set it where it's like, oh, every 24 hours, send this message, then send this message. Okay, that can work, but be creative, right? Just know that people are, they're busy, right? People are doing things. You want to try to meet, like you said at the beginning of this podcast, you want to try to meet them where they are, right? You want to try to get some you want to just fish around for some availability. And typically by the fifth lead, the fifth touch here, you've usually made contact with them through a text message. Usually on the second or third text message, we've got the customer on the hook, and we're either texting to schedule an appointment, or we're on the phone and setting them up through our call center script.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at the next one. This one gets a little bit cheesy again, but it's it catches the attention, right? This one is last call for awesome, John. We're wrapping up outreach for now, but if you're still dreaming of that home upgrade, hit yes to snag your free Men with Tools consultation. Our calendar is filling fast. Right? So we're just asking them to reply yes. That's it, right? Just get back. And again, with the cheesy language, I think it makes people look twice.
Yeah. It certainly elicits a response, correct?
A little cheese is okay.
That's okay. It works.
Yeah. I also, and even if you want to get creative with some of these messages, or play with the brand a little bit, or even send memes. You send memes and different things like that, and people respond to that stuff. So I wouldn't hesitate to include different things like that even in the messages.
Yeah, we don't send memes, but I could see I could see that possibly working. Yeah,
maybe you should.
So. Well, maybe I'll try it and I'll report back to the listeners. Yeah.
We got a couple other examples. I'm just gonna speed through here, because these are just other ones that you can include in the sequence. If you want to make the sequence longer, you can alternate them out a little bit. So we've got, hey, John, great news. We have a Menwith Tools consultant in your neighborhood tomorrow, and it looks like they have a quick opening around 10 a.m. Would it be helpful for them to swing by and give you a free project assessment? Right. Again, we want to, I actually like this one a lot because one, it's giving them a very specific opening, like, oh yes, that works perfect. I can do that. Right. And then we get them, we know 10 a.m. is going to work for them. And we're talking about things being quick. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to have a quick appointment because, John, how long are your appointments? They're at least 90 minutes, right?
Yeah. 60 to 90 minutes. Yep.
Yeah. So, it's, we're just trying to get the door open, right? And then we'll start to talk to them, and we want to get in there and help educate and help to show the value of all the products and services. So obviously that's going to take some time, but we're kind of pitching it essentially as a quick swing by. No pressure.
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. So
Cool.
this is something you can lengthen your sequence, right? Your appointment setting sequence out to that could be your 6th attempt, right? And now you have one here. The 7th, right? Speedily, the office will reach out.
Yep. I think, this one I even would consider moving up to maybe like the 2nd one in the sequence, for example. I like this one to be a little bit earlier, but in any case,
these are other options for 2nd.
Yeah, yep. You could switch these out and play with the timing and the sequences of these, right? And customize however you want. These are just some ideas to, get you thinking. All right, next one. Awesome, John. Thanks for getting in touch with the Menwith Tools. This is one that is kind of meant to be like an initial response. Or let me finish reading it. Awesome, John. Thanks for getting in touch with the Menwith Tools. Our scheduling team will be reaching out shortly to schedule your free, no pressure consultation. In the meantime, what part of the project are you most excited about?
So this is the message we use for the introduction. You have the introduction one at the top. So you have 2 different options here. This is the one that we use in our office. This is the one that we've had the best results with.
Really? Okay. Because this is the one I was going to say. I actually don't like this one so much.
No, this gets them talking. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Okay.
This goes out immediately. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, great. The reason why I was going to say, it's a very open-ended question, right? So it might be harder for the customer to reply. And it's, it's saying that you're going to reach out shortly, but why? You're reaching out now. Let's get the conversation started now rather than waiting for somebody to reach out. But,
yep.
Yeah. Anyway, but, no, that's interesting. That's good if that's the one that's getting the best results. All right. And the last example one here for Speed to Lead is, hey, John, thanks for connecting with the Menwith Tools. To make sure we knock your free estimate out of the park, could you share a little bit more about your vision for the project? So again, this is ideally we're trying to get them talking a little bit, trying to get them, sharing what they're trying to do and start putting that vision, together and explaining their vision to you. So that's just going to help make everything else, from that point forward, easier. But again, we're also asking them for a little bit more right here in a text message. So, it might be hard to share the vision in a text message, but, you can be just like, hey, I want to replace my windows.
Yeah. No, you get all different types of responses through the different sequences. So these are typically, these messages that you have here, you can put them in any order that you want, right? You can put 1, 2, I think there's 8. You can put them however you'd feel that would fit your business. But the ultimate goal here is to get someone that submitted an inquiry into your CRM, your database to respond, right? To get them on the schedule, right? To book the appointment.
But always have a question. Always make it as easy as possible to respond. Keep it brief. Keep it friendly. Even like I said, make it even a little bit funny or amusing. It's always good to get attention and responses.
So then once you have your appointment set, right, that you go into the appointment confirmation reminder templates, right? So you want to send them another text message, another message that talks about what you're going to be doing, right? So you have that template here, correct?
Correct.
Confirming the appointment.
Yep. So confirmed. Like this is what you would send essentially immediately after you set the appointment, just to let them know that you've got it on the books. And
it's automated in Builder Prime. It's automated to go out like I think 5 minutes after the appointment is set on the schedule.
Yeah, and you can configure that for whatever time frame. But yes, I think you've got your set for 5 minutes. So that's perfect. So it just says confirmed. Your Amendment Tools appointment with John is on August 1st at 10 a.m. See you then. Right? It's a very simple, right? We're not looking for a response or anything like that at this point in time. And then we just have a couple appointment reminders, right? So we're going to send one 24 hours before, and then 2 hours before is,
this is confirm. Confirm is very important, right?
Yes.
Confirming the appointments. Yes. You do that in the call center through phone calls and through text messages, right? A good confirmation process really cuts down on the waste on the sales side, right? If you're not confirming these appointments, you'll have your salespeople running all over the place, no demos, no shows. And that's how you upset your salespeople and they wind up working for other companies. So very important part of the process, confirmation, right? So you're doing this right here 24 hours out through a text message. And most of our appointments are confirmed through text messages too, just like the appointments are set. So John, read the message. Yeah, this is the message we have. This works really well.
Yeah, so this one is just a friendly heads up, John. Your Amendment Tools design consultation is set for tomorrow, August 1st at 10 a.m. To make sure we cover everything and give you the best advice, please have any questions or ideas ready. We're really looking forward to helping you move forward with your project. Right. So again, we're just trying to get them to encourage them to be prepared, right, and get excited. A couple other things I want to talk about here, right, is like one is, well, I don't know if John, I know you call, right? You call to confirm 24 hours before the day before.
No, we actually send out these text messages 24 hours before.
Okay.
And then we actually will call the evening before. So,
gotcha.
So we call from 5 to 8 p.m. because when you're calling, it's always best to just call at night when most people are home. So most of our customers just confirm through text. But for the ones that don't, we call from 5 to 8 p.m. Right. And we do that every night with the close of our shift. Our call center is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturday from 9 to 5. So on Saturdays, we're typically calling for the Monday appointments 3 to 5, right? So we're always confirming we're calling at a certain time. But like I said, these texts are going out 24 hours before, and most of the time there's no need to call because they're confirming through our text message.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. And one other thing that I like to do here, and this is maybe more of an email type of format, but introduce the sales rep that's coming out, right? And
yes.
Project consultant or design consultant, whatever you might
want. With a professional photo with them in the company shirt. They're smiling, right? No mugshot pictures. I've seen those, right?
Yeah.
Make them smile, tell a joke, put them on even if it's on like the background is a white wall. When I was first starting out, I had the guys just like stand right up on the side of my lettered truck. And I would tell a joke and they would laugh and smile and snap the photo. Boom, boom, 1, 2, 3 of them. And I always got a good photo out of them. Yeah. And we put that into the email confirmation. We'll talk a little bit about that too, moving forward.
Yeah. And next to the truck is a great way to do it, right? Much better than, kind of these bland, white background up against the wall.
Yeah. No selfies, like hanging out on vacation. Like you don't ask the salesperson for a photo because they're never going to send you a professional one. The one they think that they look good in, they usually look, terrible. It's not good for business. So I'm just speaking from experience here. Take a good professional photo as best you can for that template. Yes.
Yeah. And then the other thing also that I really like in those templates, in those email templates is, like we're saying, introduce the sales rep, but give some facts about open up the opportunity for conversation, open up the opportunity for the customer to make a connection even before that sales rep gets out. Like, for example, are they a veteran? Maybe someone's going to connect over that. Or, what's their favorite sports team or hobby or what? It doesn't matter, right? Just something that's going to open up the opportunity for the customer to connect with that person prior to them arriving and just make it that much friendlier and that much warmer.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then the other thing that you can do with some of these text messages, you can also point to the email like, hey, just, remember to check out your email to find out more about, James, who's coming out to the house tomorrow, right? So
Yep.
whoever the person is. Using the emails to point to the text messages or text messages to point to the emails, I think is always a good approach and strategy as well, just to make sure that they're seeing all the information.
Yep, it's great. So then you have this next one here, 2 hours before the appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost time.
Yeah. Good. Yep. You want to read it?
It's almost time. Yep, it's almost time, John. Your Men with Tools consultation begins in just 2 hours. At 10 a.m., we're on our way or getting ready and excited to talk about your projects. See you. I'm sorry, I'm reading it off a little phone screen. See you very shortly, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this, again, it's very important that you send it out 2 hours before, because this cuts down on the no-shows, right? So you have time 2 hours before. If they're like, oh, I'm sorry, something came up, they text you back. And then it's like, okay, you don't have your sales rep driving, half hour, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours to the customer's house, and then them not showing, right? And it also gives you ample time to try and fill the slot if it's been canceled and vacated, right, for a same day. We do 2 hours. You can do 3-4 hours. Again, you can change all of this stuff on the back end, but you should always send out, just a quick, friendly little reminder a couple hours before the appointment. It really cuts down on the no-shows.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, I know I think we're running a little bit longer than we thought we would here, but I want to go back to one other point. I know one thing that companies struggle with a lot is, trying to avoid one-leggers, right? And, this is something that, I've heard Megan Beatty talk about a lot, and hopefully we're going to have Megan come on the podcast here soon as well. But, as far as preventing one-leggers, you want to kind of appeal to, if there are two parties, if it's, a husband and wife, for example, you want to appeal to both of the things that they care about, right? Because sometimes one cares about one thing, one cares about something different. So you can also talk about, when we said have your questions or ideas ready, right? We say, we're going to talk about, financials, or we're going to talk about, the project cost. And we're also going to talk about all the different design and color options, right? So sometimes when you say those two things, you're speaking to two different people, and it really kind of helps to encourage both parties to want to be there. So another way of, hopefully helping to reduce some of the one-leggers, but just a little tip you can include in the templates as well.
Mm-hmm. So, at this point, you've run your appointment, right? Hopefully your sales rep has at least demoed it, right? Well, hopefully he or she has demoed it and sold it. But for the ones that have not sold, right there on the one call, hopefully most of you are using a one call close method. But if you've not signed the deal there in the home and you've sent the proposal, you have here the demo follow-up templates, right? So this is for unsold jobs, right? So an estimate sent, right? The immediate follow-up, right? This is the next message in the queue. Go ahead, read it, John.
Right. Yep. So, immediately following the demo, if you haven't sold it, hey, John, just sent over your personalized project proposal from the Men with Tools. Check your inbox, including spam. It outlines everything we discussed to bring your vision to life. Take a look, and if any thoughts or questions pop up, just shoot me a text back. Eager to hear what you think.
I have to say this, Jonathan. This message is so important, right? I mean, I can't stress to you the years that I was out selling in the customers' homes, how many times I would, I'm doing, and I would imagine most people are doing some form of a digital proposal, right? So you're typically sending them out in emails. I can't tell you how many times I would spend an hour or 2 hours talking with the customer. They would not close, right? Because they truly just were, just thinking about it, or, again, I'm a strong closer, but I tried my best, and they were like, send me the proposal. And I sent it, and it went to their spam box, and they never knew, right? And this is, before all of these automated messages, right? And I would call 2 days later and like, no, I never received it. Think about how the customer feels. Like, I just had this great appointment with this person, and they didn't even have the decency to email me the estimate like they promised. And you did, right? So it's very important. You're pointing out here in this message. It's like, hey, I just emailed it over, check your inbox, including the spam, right? There was a time, Jonathan, probably about 7 or 8 years ago, where I estimated about, and I have I don't have a Gmail account. I have a Men with Tools registered, email address that I don't send spam from. 30 or 40% of it was going into the spam folder, and there was nothing I could do about it, right? It was just like, I was frustrated. So I had to call people. I had to tell people when I was at the appointment, check your spam folder. This is before all these automated text messages, right?
Right.
Because if they don't get your estimate, right, and what's the chance on you following up and booking that appointment? It's zero, right? It's like, oh, this person ignored me, right? So it's very important, this message here, to just, you're telling the customer, like, hey, I sent it over. Check your inbox, and if it's not there, check your spam folder, please, right? Very important.
Yeah. Oh, man, I kind of want to go on a tangent here a little bit and talk about email deliverability.
It's crazy. It's frustrating.
The one thing I'll say is just make sure you're always sending from your domain, right? Don't send from Gmail. Do not send from, Outlook.com. Do not send from Yahoo and AOL. Do not send from any of those addresses. It is so easy and very inexpensive to get a domain with your company, your company domain. Just do it. Right? It's not only is it going to look more professional, but it's going to increase your deliverability and avoid hitting, spam filters. So just do it. And then the other thing is, you want to make sure that you keep things conversational, avoid keywords like, free and all caps and things like that. Make it, and as much as you can, plain text tends to work better than, like an HTML advertisement type of thing that might go to like the Gmail promotions folder or something like that. So, just a couple of quick tips, and we'll get back to the text message templates here. So let's move on with the demo follow-up, right? So the first one was just immediately afterwards. It's not something that we're really trying to solicit a response from. It just gives them an opportunity to respond back if they didn't receive the text or if there are any immediate questions that just popped into their head. But then if they still, if maybe it could be as soon as a couple hours later, or maybe it's the next day, you want to continue to follow up, right? So, this is another example, following up on the demo. Hey, John, it's Jonathan here from Men with Tools, circling back on your project proposal. We're ready when you are to turn that vision into reality. Are you ready to move forward? So I like this one just because it's very direct, right? It's just very direct. Like we're ready to go and we're excited about it. Are you ready to move forward? And, they have to say yes or no, right? So this is a really good one to send out, to follow up maybe the next day. And then and you can continue to send a few others, that are very similar, get these into a sequence. But then there's another option here as well, where it's a survey, right? And you can say, hi, John, thanks for your time today. Please share your thoughts on your meeting with this quick survey. Your feedback helps us improve, right? So this one, I think you might not get, everybody clicking through to submit the survey, but some people will, and you might get some really good information there and find out, where you're falling short and why you're not closing deals.
You get when they do complete it, you get excellent information.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. I love how, the sales reps is like, oh, the client loved me, they're gonna close, and then you go into the survey and it's like, yeah, the salesperson was an idiot. But again, that helps you with rehash, right? So when you see that there was no connection there between the client and the salesperson, right?
Mm-hmm.
For companies that don't have a rehash or have a rehash program or have multiple salespeople, like we have rehash, so we automatically take it away. But like if you don't have a rehash and maybe you have 3 or 4 sales reps and Jimmy went out and the client didn't like Jimmy, well, you certainly don't want Jimmy following up with that client, right? So that survey will tell you that, right? So either you get on the phone as the owner or you assign it to another salesperson, right? For better results. So you can see that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And then and it's really easy to create like a Google form or something like that, and then create a link to it, put it in the text message.
Yep.
All right.
So the no demo, the no show, and let's stop right here, Jonathan, with the sales appointments, on this pod here.
Yeah, do you want to pick it up the next time?
Yeah. So for the customers that don't demo, right? So you have the no demo script up there, right?
Yep.
No demo, no follow up, or no show. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So next time we can get into the no demo, we can get into the job sold, we can get in project scheduled, rehash, and review requests. So we'll talk more about some of these other ones on the next episode here.
Okay, Johnny. Yeah. So like I said, again, just a quick recap here. Best practices, right? I always find that when you're sending out text messages, or especially text messages, it always works best if it looks like it's coming from a real person, right?
Yes.
In the office.
Yep.
You don't want it, even though it's automated, you don't want it to feel automated. Playful, short, sweet, ending with a question,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is there anything else any other best practices for text messaging?
No, I think those are the general. Yeah, those are good. I mean, like I said, in some of them, I like to try to get a little bit of FOMO stuff in there. Especially when they're not responding. If you're missing out, so if you can do that in a polite and non-aggressive way, I think that's always a good thing to do as well. And yeah, but hopefully everybody found these templates in this discussion. I mean, we're a lot really into systems and processes and ways of workflows. We talked a lot more about that.
We always say we're going to do 30, 45 minutes, and then we get so deep into the subject that we wind up running out 45 minutes, an hour. So it looks like we're going to have to do a part 2 on this one. Like I said, for all the other text messages, we'll probably go in a little email. So we'll have a part 2 of this. We'll probably record this next week, Johnny.
Yeah.
And then I think the week after that, we have the surprise. Well, it's not a surprise guest because you already mentioned it, but Megan Beatty. So she's going to be able to come on and talk to us about, for when you do get people on the phone, like scripting and stuff like that, best practices in the call center, right?
Yeah.
So we really are, these next 3 episodes, going to be covering a lot on the the appointment setting, texting, emailing, and call side, right? So if you listen to these 3 episodes, you're going to learn how the best companies in the industry take these raw leads and convert them into appointments and sales, money, yay! So, all right, Johnny.
All right. Good to chat with you, John. We'll see everybody again next week.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for watching and listening. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please like, share, subscribe to this podcast. We try our best to give you useful content so that you can implement it into your business, and you can take advantage of all the things that all the mistakes I've made. you can avoid all those mistakes that I've made and that we've seen. So, thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
All right. Bye now.